Hi everybody, it's Sam from Be Crafty again. I hope you're all having a lovely day. As I've already said today, I'm really sad that we're not there with you and, you know, being there in the studio. We do miss it. It's not our favourite way to do this. However, what I do like is being able to bring you lovely things like this. So the MDF landscape journal that you get two of on the show today, I have given this a rough coat of just white gesso, and what we're going to do now is we're going to set about making our journal cover with all of the lovely bits and pieces that are in your embellishment pack. You will notice this clock comes from the Hickory Dickory clocks, so the mice and the clock set. This is the smallest one. It doesn't come like this. I have chopped it up. I just use my craft knife and a metal ruler, make the line, and then if you just sort of saw away at it, if you've got a little miniature saw, it'd probably be better or quicker. That's why I did it before we started. So I've sort of selected out of the kitty bits the things that I want to use. And what I'm going to do now is we're just going to go about with the hot glue gun. We're going to go about sticking them on. Now, why did I want half of the clock? The truth of this is, I don't know. I just did. But the thing about it is, when you get these home, and you will love them, I know you will. But what we're going to do now, like I say, we're going to stick all these bits on. I'd like to say in an orderly fashion. I don't even know what sort of fashion it'll be, but they'll be on, that's for sure. And it's just a normal hot glue gun I'm using, nothing specific, nothing, or certainly nothing fancy. Don't do fancy. And all these extra little bits, they're just going to add to the texture, because ultimately, once we've got all these bits on, I thought I glued it to the table. Wouldn't be the first time, would it? Ultimately, what we're going to do is, once we've got all of our bits and pieces glued on, like I say, in a not so orderly fashion, what I'd then like to do is to pop a... Oh, that was good. That fitted where I wanted it to. Wasn't sure that was going to happen. That's going to go somewhere there. Sorry, just talking to myself for a little second, largely because there's no one here to stop me. So that's going to go about there. Did we say about there? Let's hope so, because it's stuck down. Ah, yeah, that'll be fine. Yeah, so what I would like to do is then give this a coat of... just again white gesso, because what I would like to do from there is be able to create almost a goldy, a whitey, but with some colour. Making no sense, am I? Oh, that button will fit in there. And I don't know whether you can see, but the glue gun, I'm sure you'll have all had this before, it leaves little trails of where it's been. So I just sort of... Oh, that's a little knot I made from the string out of the kit earlier. You can make whichever knot you like. I just made that one. Do you know why? Because it's probably the only one I know how to make. But I'm just going to trim it a little bit. That looks all right, doesn't it? And when I say about giving this a layer of sort of gesso in a few minutes, that's not because I don't want to see the sort of the natural colours coming out of all these, you know, lovely bits and pieces, I have to say. Does that make... am I biased? I don't know. But I do like them, so that's good, isn't it? But yeah, what I want is for that to sort of come through and essentially then be able to highlight the high points of this with like a it's a gold sort of wax paint type material. But again, you use whatever you've got. It doesn't, just because whoever is using something specific in terms of colouring and whatever, you just go with whatever you have. Oh, no, do you think that? It's going to happen. It's going to happen. Oh, it's very hot. It's very hot. But it's very on now as well. Let's just do the has anything fell off test. Not quite. Now, this is the word I use. So in this set, you get courage and brave, and strength. And I just like the strength one. What I'm hoping is that when we're somewhere close, that it's going to look like a nice, strong piece of work. That's my plan. These hinges I stuck on, you get those in the kit as well. I stuck those on before we started because, if I'm brutally honest, they needed a little bit more intricacy than I think I was capable of. And I thought I picked all the bits I want. Sorry for reaching over you. Oh, look. There's a little gap there just for that key. What do you think? There we go. So now it's time to pop some paint on. I'll get all these bits out of the way first. Right, some gesso. Oh, that made a bit of a mess, didn't it? Chances are I've either got too much or too little. Do we ever get it perfectly right? I'm not entirely sure. And what we're going to do now, like I say, do the tap test. Does anything fall off? Have I got it completely wrong or completely right? And what I'm going to do now is just stipple that colour in on top, including the string of all this. And like I say, this isn't because I don't like the colour of all these. I just want to take it back almost so that I've got, for want of a better description, I've got a blank canvas. But in amongst these bits here, that's why I'm stippling, because I don't want too much paint to stay in there. And if you just stipple like that, the paint will come out. But if you can see, I don't think you can see in that one there, because there's a bit of that glue texture in there, actually it looks quite cool. See, I went quiet there while I was concentrating. And again, if you want that sort of natural, so that the colours of the wood creep through, then the nice thing about it is you can keep them. Nice thing is you don't have to go through this stage. And can you see what I mean? How it just starts to sort of, it looks like, what I want it to look like is how it's kind of, it's meant to look that way. It arrived like this. Of course it did. No one surely took the time to sit there with a glue gun. Now, as you can see, you sat and watched me. It's not a long-winded process. You don't have to take too long to do it. And certainly what I'm doing now is just sort of trying to get the brush to go in and do a little bit of in between those Roman numerals on that clock. Do I mind if all of it gets done? No, absolutely not. Because essentially it doesn't actually matter. Like I say, what I want is not to dull down that natural look of it, just really to sort of, I've got some loose bits there. Yeah, just to sort of take it back to a blank canvas, so that when I add a little bit of colour in a few minutes, the colour comes to the front, but we don't lose, yeah, we don't want to lose the sort of the texture of these bits, because they are fantastic. And hopefully, like that key there, let me see if I can find a little one over here. So originally it was sort of that brass and green. Oh, I'm so sorry. Brass and green. So I don't really want to lose all of that. But like I say, I do want a relatively, let me just turn it round, relatively blank canvas to start with. And we are almost there. Right, I'm going to go and dry this off, and I'll catch you, hopefully, in part 2. Okay, we're back. So I've dried my gesso, and what I have decided to do now is I've got some Distress Oxide spray, which I'm going to spray out onto my blending mat. I don't know if I've talked about the blending mats today or not. This is the largest of the blending mats. In the set you get 2, oh, did you see that sort of poofed over a bit there, didn't it? You get 3, so you get 1 of this size, 2 of the A4s. I am just going to water that down a little more. And then I can't manage without these. I think the thing for me is they're just easy to use. So that's sort of really watered out that colour now. And if I show you on one of the pages that I haven't done anything on yet, you can see it really is a sort of a watered down colour. Almost can't see it. I hope you can though, because I can. And the thing with it is, if you do something like that and you think, oh, I've watered it down too much, you just put a bit more in. Now I'm going to need to water that down again, aren't I? Anyway, the colour, if you are interested, is Victorian Velvet. And what I want to do is just take some and put it into random parts of this. Go in the background of there. I like doing this because what it means is that you can start everything off as a bit of a blank canvas. And I think that's where sort of gesso, for me, comes into its own. Now, I'm not worrying too much if I get any over the top of this. I'm not really worried about wherever it goes. Turn it around. Something Bev talks about all the time. Always move your project to suit you. Don't spend too much time moving to suit it. Then from our Inkables templates that we've got on the show today. Now, this is one of those things that would have been a really good idea before I stuck some of this down. But I'm not going to worry too much. I'm just going to do some very gentle stippling through there. Oh, it's nice, isn't it? And then if I take, oh, it might have to be the same bit because that's what fits there. But that's okay, isn't it? Stipple that over. Again, I suppose the nice thing about this is I don't have it has to look like anything specific. And you just see as this colour dries, because it's the oxide, it's sort of, you get that sort of, not strange, because that sounds wrong, doesn't it? It's a nice sort of strange chalky effect to it. I'll put a bit in there. Over there now. The thing that I wanted to do is then to highlight some pieces of this. Now let me just wipe this mat so that I can do that. So I have like a wax paint. Oh, I've just bashed the camera, haven't I? Sorry guys, hope you survived. I'm sure you did. So, oh, I've already got a brush ready there. So I'm just going to grab some of that onto this brush and put it out there. I'm not going to do that. I've changed my mind. I'm going to actually use my finger so that we can just dab some really gentle highlights. And it almost, I'm hoping it's picking up on camera because it's quite sort of almost a bit delicate and a bit gentle. Much like me. Nobody's meant to be laughing at this stage, by the way. Just thought I should point that out. So I don't know whether you can see that. So what's happening now is you can still see that really, really nice colour of the Distress Oxide. But what it's also doing is just picking up the highlights of the, I suppose, essentially what's sort of sticking out a bit more and what's sort of catching the wax paint off my fingers. But it's almost kind of a lemony type, and it's meant to be like a gold, but I kind of actually am quite partial to how it looks. And I'm hoping that you can see that too. Now you remember earlier I was sort of saying about this little key. It was green and brown to start with, and if I'm honest, what we have ended up with here isn't at all what I thought we were going to get. But the nice thing about that is it just goes to show that even when we start something, if we're not sure what we're going to end up with, that's not an issue. Because now, as I grab the other pieces of my book, which I haven't done anything on the pages, there's no work gone in yet. That will all happen at a later date. But as I put that together with the book, and I could, oh, that gold, I could sort of, well, we're all here together, I might as well do it now, hadn't I? I'm wondering why that was standing up funny. It's because I haven't bent over the edge of the, I don't know if you can see there. Mum tells me off if I don't paint the edges properly. Do you think this counts? Oh, I keep doing that, don't I? Very sorry. Put the book rings down. You do get the book rings with these. I will find the book rings at a later date. Now these holes that I've punched in here, I just did that with a normal hole punch. Nothing too grand or spectacular. So yeah, I will find the book rings out at a later date. I will finish the other pages and pop the pictures onto the Crafting with Her Chandler page so that you can see how the book looks when it's done. But for now, for this demo, I am finished. Thank you so much for staying with me for today. I hope you're having a lovely time, staying safe, and we will see you really soon. Can't wait. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.